Hi all, ACDodd here again, and welcome to another episode of On The Road Tuning with me, ACDodd. And this time, for the end of the season, we're down to MLMotorsport for a tuning day. Let's crack on. So, here we are, MLMotorsport, for another tuning day. And we have an Austin Metro. This is a 1.3L. Lovely original looking car. It's got some different wheels on it, but under the bonnet it's a 1.3, and I think it's a completely standard 1.3. It's even got original leads, so very period. So what we need to do is to go and find out what the owner wants us to do, and if he's got any problems, and then we'll go from there. So, spoke to the owner, started to have a look at this one. So, I think it's only got something like 21,000 miles on it, so it's not done very much at all. Initial look shows us that it's actually running lean. All the plugs are like that. But in this case, that doesn't indicate what problems we got. So, we have many problems on this one, and it's basically related to the fact that it's an original tune. So the advance curve is set up for economy, so there's very little mechanical advance. It's only getting about 12 degrees at the crank. So we need to change the distributor to give it some more advance. Spark plugs are well worn, so we're going to put those in. It had original leads on it, which we're going to change. And the carburetor has got a BER needle with the standard airbox, which is extremely lean nowadays. So we're going to change the needle, we're going to drill the airbox. We're going to put a different advance curve in it, one of my recurve distributors, and this should wake this up no end. So let's get stuck in. Okay, so got this engine back running again. So we put a new set of HT leads on, new set of BP6 spark plugs, gap to 35 thou. I don't know if you can see in there, but we've got there is a new bottom half on that dizzy. So I've got a recurve bottom half, which is now getting full 30 degrees of advance. We was only getting 19 before, so engine's responding quite well. And now I'm just changing my attention to the carburetor. So a carb appears to be working fine, which is excellent. But the issue comes back to the needle. So in terms of what was fitted from the factory, we've got this great big parallel needle, so there's not a lot of fuel coming in. So what we've done is we changed it to a BBA. That's still too lean, so I'm going to go and modify that now, and then hopefully it'll be ready for test drive. So I've got this one all done in the end. Drilled airbox, had to do a fast drop damper, put a BBA needle in it, modified the needle because it was too lean all the way across the rev range. Anyway, we've got a good fueling curve now, so already mentioned about dizzy and all the rest of it. So going to go out and give it a little test now, and then let the owner go at it and see what they think. I'll just interject there. The owner, in this particular case, didn't want to go on camera, which is absolutely fine. There's no hard and fast rule about you have to appear on camera when I'm tuning your car. But he was suitably impressed and couldn't really believe the difference and how much performance he gained by having that tune. So it's well worth mentioning that the Austin Metros, especially the mundane models, are effectively detuned from the factory so that they don't perform. They perform well at part throttle, but they don't perform when you put your foot down. In fact, the engine falls flat. So it's done deliberately so that when you're just touching the throttle, they drive very efficiently and a good fuel economy, but the performance is very poor. But obviously, doing the modifications you just saw there, that car would give any MG Metro normally aspirated engine a run for its money now. In terms of performance, because it wakes up that engine and really brings the best out of it. So you get not only more power, but you actually get an increase in fuel economy as well, obviously if you drive it sensibly. So without further ado, let's crack on. Okay, so next car, and we've got this little road racer. Nice car, bucket seats, all the usual accoutrements. Under the bonnet, she's got a 1275. Okay, so this is Kevin. This is Kevin's car. So why have you brought it down today, Kevin?
So it's not really running properly on part throttle. At low revs it's kind of stuttery.
Yeah.
You need to be on it for it to be actually going, so you need to be flooring it all the time for it to be working properly.
Okay, so what you're basically saying is it sounds to me like it's just too lean, and you just want it to drive nicely instead of having to thrash it everywhere by the sounds of it.
Just want to use it, yeah, absolutely.
All right then, well let's get stuck in and see what we can find.
Thank you, cheers.
Okay, so we got there on this one. Vacuum unit installed. It's got a 1.5 ohm coil on this one with a ballast system, so I've left it all the same. The advance curve in the distributor is good. We've now got a vacuum connected, got new leads, new set of BP6CS spark plugs capped for 25 thou. And then we turned our attention to the carburetor, which was very interesting because the carburetor had already had a profiled needle in it. So our issue was there was not enough oil in it. So I've actually refilled the oil, but also thickened the grade up a little bit because it was opening a bit quick. I've also, even though it was a profiled needle, it was very lean at 5,000 revs, so I've adjusted that. So this is all ready for test drive. So we'll send the owner out in now and see what he thinks. Okay, so that little car there was an interesting one because, you know, in reality, it didn't actually have a lot wrong with it. It didn't have a vacuum unit, so somebody had obviously thought that removing the vacuum unit was, you know, a sensible thing to do for a road car. It's not, especially on a mild-tuned engine. So in reality, if you've got an A-series that's used on the road that's relatively mild-tuned, you're always better off with a vacuum unit because it gives you 6 to 8 more miles to the gallon. And it'll also, you know, improve throttle response no end because there's more ignition advance on part throttle. So, yeah, absolutely needed. Now, the other thing is, this is a good example of an engine that wasn't performing particularly well, even though it had a profiled needle in. So just because the needle's right and doesn't mean to say the actual car will perform properly, because in this case, as we see in the video, it was short of oil in the dash pot. So by putting the right oil in the dash pot and obviously making sure it's the right level, and obviously sorting the timing out, this car was transformed, and we'll hear that now from the owner. Okay, so Kevin's been out in his car, so what do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, unbelievable. The response on part throttle, and yeah, the engine just revs and revs now. It's so much better.
Now, interested in your one, that needle wasn't actually that far out, so it was the other bits and pieces that was causing the issue, especially the lack of oil, and obviously the vacuum unit that we've now added. So the whole thing's totally different, yeah?
Yeah, it's honestly, can actually use the car now, which is the whole point of being here, which is great.
Excellent. All right, so would you recommend this service to anyone else?
Absolutely. Get your car checked and done because it'll transform the way it drives.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you very much for bringing it down.
No, thank you. Cheers.
Okay, last car of the day. Got this little retro 998. Lovely little car. Like the cheeky wheels. 10-inch reverse rims. Lovely. Lovely road racer. Let's see what's under the bonnet. So under the bonnet we've got a stage 1 equipped 998, little A plus engine. So I think what we need to do is go and talk to the owner and see why he's brought it into us. Okay, so this is Rob. He's the owner of this little retro road racer. So why have you brought it in today, Rob?
I've just rebuilt the carb.
Yep.
And I just want it all dialed in, really.
Okay,
it's not running quite right.
Okay, so just for the viewers, what do you mean? Define not quite right.
It's got a flat spot when you roll on the throttle when you're at cruising speed.
Okay.
It really doesn't want to accelerate, and the hills are a bit of a struggle as well. So.
Okay, all right. Well, let's have a dig in and see what we can do.
Yep. Thank you.
So under the bonnet of this one, we're not doing too bad actually. We've got 3 ohm coil. We've got new plugs and new leads. They're all supplied as the customer bought the car to me, so I haven't had to put any of that on. The only thing I've done is just adjust the timing a little bit. Added about 3 or 4 degrees of advance, that's all. But we're pretty good. So we're turning our attention to the carburetor, as you can see. The customer's rebuilt his own carburetor and he's done a very good job because it's working very well. And coming over to the needle, It had an ABD, so I'll swap that for an AEE, and then I'm doing some modifications to it. The only other thing we've got at the moment is we're very lean on acceleration, so I think we may have to change the damper, but because we're on the thickest oil at the moment, and I think it's still rising a bit quick. But let's finish the tune and see where we end up. Right, so we got this one all dialed in, which is really good. So so what we ended up with is a modified AAE needle. I had to change the damper in the end, so I put a new 2085 damper in, and then I was able to run 1040 oil, and we got a good enrichment on the accelerator pump. So yeah, let's let the owner go out in it now and see what he thinks. Okay, so another little interesting one. This one wouldn't run right until we actually changed the damper in the carburetor. So you know, on a tune, it's not possible to tune every single car with the parts that are already fitted. So sometimes you need to replace parts on the carburetor. So for example, a new damper had to be fitted because the damper that was in there was allowing the piston to rise too fast. So the beauty of the LZX 2085 is it blocks the hole up and slows it down, which is exactly what this car needed to bring the calibration of the accelerator pump in line with the engine's requirements. Right, Rob's been out for a drive in his car, so after we've done the tune. So what's it like, Rob?
Very, very crisp. Yeah,
excellent.
Just how it should be, responsive when you want it to be, basically. Yeah.
Excellent.
Very
right.
happy. Very happy.
I like that. Wonderful. So would you recommend this to anyone else?
Of course. If you're thinking about it, don't think, just do it.
You also tell me, Rob, that you've been watching my channel.
Oh yeah, I'm a big geek.
Big geek.
Huge geek.
Huge geek. Okay, right. So you watched all my channel. You watched all my well, pretty much all my footage. So
yep.
Has that been useful?
Of course. Yeah. It's got it to where I needed the machinery, basically the tools to.
I did notice that you've made your own fast drop damper and a few other bits and pieces, and I was like, oh, where'd you get that from? So yeah, watching my channel has been very useful to you.
Oh
so,
yes.
All right, excellent. Well, I'm just letting other people know that there's a source of information out there, and if people like you are benefiting from it, which is good because I've seen it on your car, then it can only help others.
Yes.
All right, excellent. Anyway, thanks for bringing your car in today.
Excellent, thank you very much.
And I'm glad it's running really well for you.
Excellent. Cheers.
Okay, so I hope you liked that episode there. That concludes the series for this year, unless obviously I get a chance to do any tuning over Christmas, which will be a Christmas special. But that's effectively the 29 episodes for the year. I really hope you found them useful. Especially the deep dives, which I've recently started doing. So please, as ever, like and subscribe and leave any comments down below. Anyway, see you soon. Thank you very much.